Good morning, students. Just wanted to take a minute to this actually be a little bit of a longer video to give instructions on the study guide for the end of our World War One, unit. It's got 9 different pages, and I'm going to give you the instructions and any clarifying points that I find along the way. Hopefully, you find this video helpful to answer any questions that you might have. This is being assigned today, which is Friday the 22nd. It is not going to be due until Tuesday of next week. I don't have that date off the top of my head, but Tuesday next week, this will be uh, due, completed. It is not going to be graded. However, I highly recommend that you use this tool to help guide you and make sure that you've fully grasped specific concepts that may be on the summative assessment for this unit. The summative assessment is either going to be on Wednesday or Thursday for hybrid students, depending on the day that you are here in class. I have not decided for my remote students whether or not we are going to have the assessment on Wednesday or Thursday. In all likelihood, it will be on Thursday to give us one more day of review. That way, everybody's done on the same day, and we can go from there. But this is the World War One study guide. You see that the teacher copy, obviously this is my copy of it, but yours will look very, very similar. I made this teacher copy so that I can type on it and show you guys how to interact with this. So I'm going to read the instructions here on the first slide. So part one, there are 2 parts to this. So part one, the instructions are demonstrate your knowledge of the main, which are the militarism, alliances, imperialism, and nationalism causes of World War One, which we have talked about multiple times over since Christmas. But it's good to sit and refresh and make sure that it's fresh in our minds. On the following slides, type a definition of each cause and provide 2 examples of that cause. Add a picture that helps describe the cause and answer the question detailing how the main cause contributed to the start of World War One. I have way overused the word cause in this paragraph. I may revise it here in a moment, so I apologize for the repetition there. Always proofread your work, students. Detailing how each main cause contributed to the start of World War One. Use assignments from class and or your own research to complete this. Responses should be in your own words. In your own words. If you give me college level academic definitions straight off of the first page of Google, you may find that you're committing plagiarism. Actually, you are committing plagiarism. So make sure that it's in your own words. So the first section, we've got main. So the next 4 slides, this being the first slide, are the main causes of World War One. So on this side, you can see we have militarism. On the next one, we have alliances, imperialism, and on the last one, nationalism. Slide number 6 or page number 6 here is, or frame, I think is the correct term using Jamboard, is going to start part 2. Let's go back to militarism. One too far there. Here's militarism. So you don't need to type anything on this pink post-it note, but you do, obviously you can see here on the left, it says definition, type here. That's where you're going to type the definition. I know it's really, really confusing, and I made it hard on purpose. I did not make it hard on purpose. I've tried to make this as easy as possible. And then type example 2 there, example 2, type here, example 1, type here. And these are all connected to militarism. So, for example, if we want to do a definition of militarism, I highly recommend that you start here. Obviously, you're going to delete the type here. Bam, deleted. And militarism, in my words, these are not your words, so don't copy this exactly, but you should have the general idea. And we also did this in your interactive notebook, so that you should have definitions, or at least the start of a definition in your interactive notebook already. So I'm going to, in my own words, what I think of militarism, in my words, the definition is the belief um, that countries should, spelling counts, have a strong military and be ready to use it aggressively. Okay, as my one sentence definition of militarism, and then I click save. Now I've completed the definition portion. Now the two examples, and we've talked about a lot of different examples of militarism in class. We may not have put militarism as the phrase, but thinking about the definition, you may have already thought of a couple examples. And the first example that I want to give here that we've talked about in class, and you can think about this in the sinking of the Lusitania, we had a British ship carrying American goods against a German ship. Obviously, that's inside of World War One. So when we're talking about causes, there is a major competition. So naval competition between Germany and the United Kingdom, or you could put the British. And if you wanted to go into more detail for yourself there, that's sufficient. But we obviously have the British at this time have this huge military, huge navy in particular, that is basically unrivaled in the world. And Germany does try to compete there. So they're both spending tons of money trying to gain naval power. And that's a sign of militarism. They're having a strong military and being ready to use it, and they're being aggressive. All right, we're going to go on to example 2 here. And the second example, we've talked briefly in class about massive increases in military spending between 1900 and 1914. So in the years, and you could, instead of putting the exact dates, you could say in the years leading up to World War One. So tons of countries, the amount of spending on military infrastructure, crazy amounts of money is increased there. So you could put that. And then obviously the last piece, don't just put the definition and the examples, make sure to finish it out. So this says, how did militarism contribute to the beginning of World War One? In 2 to 3 sentences, make a claim and provide evidence. Well, guess what? We've defined it and we've given 2 examples, and those examples are our evidence, which is pretty convenient. So militarism contributed to the beginning of World War One by creating massive militaries that escalated means raised up or got bigger, scale of the conflict. You need lots of armies, lots of soldiers, lots of tanks, lots of bombs, lots of planes to have a big war. If you don't have all those things, then it's a small war. But World War One is the first World War and considered the Great War before World War Two, obviously, because of this massive increase in military spending that increased the scale of the conflict. Examples. Just had a student walk by my window. Hi, Jennifer. Examples of this are naval competition between Germany and England, and a massive increase in military spending in the years before World War One. So that's two sentences. It's a compound sentence there. Two sentences that entirely answers the question. We made a claim. We said militarism contributed to the beginning of World War One by creating massive militaries that escalated the scale of conflict. Claim. And then we supported it with two examples. So that is a great way. This would be an amazing answer for you to have, obviously, in your own words, for militarism. If you've made it this far into the video, feel free to use the information that I provided. But again, make sure that it's in your own words. The examples are pretty much the same. You can copy those, but the definition should be your own, and the answer down here should be your own. I am not going to give you the answers to alliances, to imperialism, to nationalism. There are lots of great YouTube videos and lots of great information that you can research. But also remember that you've done assignments on this in the previous weeks. So make sure to go back to those. All right. Oh, I forgot. We had a picture. Almost forgot. And I have no idea what pictures are going to show up here. We're going to Google image search. We're going to just type in militarism. We do not want Miley Cyrus, whatever that was. Militarism World War One. Why not? And I see nationalist movements, arms race. That's kind of a lot of the different things that we're gonna hit into. We talked about boats, so let's do boats. We talked about the naval kind of increase there, so let's do boats. Let's put a boat in there. That reminds me that militarism, one of the big ways they spent money was on different ships, and I'm just gonna add that right there. Why not? All right, the next piece. Part two, you see all these post-its down here. You're not going to directly interact with those, although you can. So you're gonna part two. Your instructions are choose three related events below to analyze, then explain how each of them are connected in chronological order. Chronological order is very important here. Chronological means that it's in order. So the year 2019 comes before 2020, and then 2020 is followed by 2021. We obviously would not say that 2021 came before 2019, and we definitely don't want to do 2020 again. So don't put that in the future. But use the post-its provided to give the details around the events and add a picture that helps define the event even further. You may use the assignments we have completed in class to aid in completion of this assignment or research these topics on your own. So again, we've hit these a lot. We've talked about definitions, we've watched videos, we've watched around these things, we've talked about them. You guys are working on assignments around them now. So make sure that you use what we have already done if you can. And then obviously you can certainly research things outside of that. But the first one, so the events 1, 2, and 3 are here. All these pages are the same except for the event ones, the number of the events have changed. But I want to choose two events. I'm going to start. You should choose your three events first. I'm going to choose. Where is that? All right, I'm going to choose the Zimmerman telegram. These are out of order. So the Zimmerman telegram is in January 1917, and in April 1917, the U.S. declares war on Germany. I'm not going to choose a third event. You should definitely choose a third event. I'm going to choose these two events. So Zimmerman telegram and U.S. declares war on Germany. So I'm going to type here. You could certainly click the other one and copy and paste it. January 1917, Zimmerman telegram. And for the second event, this says April 1917, U.S. declares war on Germany. All right, so we've got our two of our three events, and you might choose any of the other events that comes after 1917, obviously. Well, let's go back. So the three details for the events we're going to do first. First detail we're going to type here, and we have, we remember that the Zimmerman telegram is a German message to Mexico. You could further elaborate on that if you wanted to, but in its simplest, it's a German message to Mexico. I'm actually going to add here, trying to get Mexico to attack the United States. A little bit of a motive in there. Detail number two I'm going to put in here is that it is decoded, intercepted first, intercepted and decoded by the British. Third detail is that it will put greatly angers America because this would make them mad. And then our question is, how does event one influence event two, influence and lead to event two? We know what event two is because we already picked it. Event two is that the U.S. declares war on Germany. So this event leads to the U.S. declaring war on Germany because it was seen as an attack by Germany on the U.S. And you could reference other things that aren't in that. So like the Sinking of Lusitania, and the one of the other details you might put it for the Zimmerman telegrams. It talks about return to unrestricted naval warfare. So hey, we're going to start destroying U.S. goods and U.S. ships. So it's seen as an attack. It's sneaky, and so that sentence works just fine. It's seen as an attack. It's interpreted as Germany is calling for violence against the U.S. And so largely after this is printed in newspapers, they get really uppity and angry. And again, if you've made it this far in the video, congratulations, well done. Feel free to use this as your example, and use two of these details if there are other details that you like. But that answer, the how does one lead to the other one, should definitely be in your own words. I'm going to look up Zimmerman telegram, also called the Zimmerman note. And there's the telegram itself in its uncoded version. But if you saw something else on here that you're like, I really like anti-German league, that doesn't really do anything. If you saw another picture on here that kind of reminded you of this more, or if you wanted to do like a coding, like a hacker thing, if that's what you think about, then you could certainly use that. I'm going to use this one. Whatever helps kind of you remember the learning. And again, I'm going to kind of put it over here and make it a little bit smaller. But that's how you should go about completing this assignment. The highlighter is kind of going through there. It's kind of annoying, but it's what it is. So that would be a completed event number one. Obviously, then you'd have to go in and do event number two and number three. And again, this is not going to be graded, but it will greatly increase your chances in your success in the first assessment of this quarter. If you guys have questions, feel free to email me or your teacher. Good luck. Enjoy this, especially get creative with the pictures that really brings this alive to you. And yeah, I hope you guys spend time enjoying your weekend, get outside. For my fourth and fifth period, I look forward to having you guys in class on Monday and Tuesday. But stay safe, be friendly, and I will see you guys on Monday, either on Zoom or in person.